Okay, this game is Tal vs Smyslov, played in 1959. It was awarded a Brilliancy Prize for Tal's excellent bishop sacrifice, which has confused analysts ever since. Tal played e4, and Smyslov replied with the rock-solid Caro Kann, and now Tal played d3, which is a quiet response instead of the usual mainline d4. So Smyslov played d5, and now knight d2 was played, e5, and now knight gf3. So it looks as though white might continue with g3. Smyslov now played knight d7, and Tal put a lot of more tension in the centre now by playing d4. So maybe he's trying to exploit this slightly passive knight. Smyslov released the tension in the centre, first by taking on e4, and then by taking on d4. Now Tal pinned the knight, and he doesn't look to be doing too badly out of the opening. I think white has a slight advantage here, especially after castling queenside. He's got this d-file pressure, and this knight to d6 is now possible, which he now plays. It will be unwise for black to take on d6, because these dark squares would be even weaker without that dark squared bishop. Smyslov played queen a5, which is quite a logical move, attacking a2. Now, Tal played bishop c4, which is a little bit controversial because although the bishop does protect a2, maybe black later can play b5 and c5 and even try and trap the bishop if it returned back to b3. However, the brilliance of this game is that the bishop never retreated back to b3. After b5, Tal played bishop d2 first to hit the queen on a5, and now he played knight f5 to hit the bishop on e7. And now you think, after bishop d8, that Tal must move this bishop on c4, but he doesn't. He plays queen h4, which unravels a lot of attacking resources quite suddenly into the position. First there's the idea of queen g5 or queen g3. Next there's bishop c3s and ideas of rook d7s in some variations. But also there's ideas of rook he1 as being useful in some of these attacking variations. Fischer had the opinion of Tal. He commented that against Smyslov in the 1959 candidates tournaments he gave away a bishop for no recompense, just to develop an attacking formation, and eventually won the game. It was one of the most unusual sacrifices I have ever seen, Fischer said, and typical of the daring that characterises this 25-year-old Russian's play. So Fischer had a big impression made of this game, as though it was a speculative bishop sack with no compensation. We'll see. The bishop was munched. Queen g5. Now knight h5 to defend g7. Now knight h6 check. So Tal's offering another piece sack now. But here, the knight is probably immune, because after bishop c3 check, f6, Tal could continue the attack with queen takes h6. So there's a pinned pawn now on f6, but white is now threatening knight g5. So there's an incredibly powerful and dangerous bishop here. For example, rook g8, knight g5, and it's difficult for black to arrange a decent defence. If, for example, rook g7, then rook he1, and all of a sudden it's incredibly difficult to defend against rook e8. It's actually a mate in 5, according to my analytical assistant. So that's a no-no. What about rook takes g5, queen takes g5, queen b5? Again, white's clearly better here, because again, this rook is coming in with the decisive effect, rook he1. It just seems black's coordination here is not very good. These two bishops in a row mean that it's too slow to defend this first rank in some of these key variations. So Smyslov, though, played queen takes a2, threatening mate in 1. Tal then played bishop c3, not minding about this check, because the rook will be attacking the queen on a1. Smyslov now played knight f6. Now here, a brilliant move was played by Tal to refute knight f6 very convincingly. Can you spot it? I'll give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tal played queen takes f7. So again, this back row mate is threatened. After the queen is immune, because of the back row mate. Rook takes f7, and it'll be a mate in 3. A beautiful smug mate, or just rook takes g8. So, queen takes f7, and Smyslov apparently said, oops. Oops indeed. He's got a lost position now. Queen a1, king d2, and after this queen trade, Tal is the exchange up in this ending. He just moves his king now to e3, and after bishop b6 check, he played bishop d4, and here Smyslov resigned, because Tal was material up, and this is a technical win. The exchange of material up, pawn up. Let's look earlier now. There's a beautiful variation uncovered in this game by Kasparov. One of the questions was why the bishop moved back to d8. Kasparov praised this move because it still reinforced f6. Because one of the other ideas, if bishop c5, you'll see the full concept now. Queen h4, bc, bishop c3 now. And you can see this amazing combination of forces, the knight, the queen, the bishop, the rook. If queen takes a1, rook takes d7 is an incredibly powerful move here, offering a rook sacrifice on h1. Let's have a quick look at this variation then. Queen a1 check, king d2, queen takes h1. There'll be a mate in 10 here, with knight h6 check, queen f6, now mate in 7. This is devastating because the queen's immune because of bishop takes f6 mate. There are other key variations. Let's see if we can quickly examine them. After rook takes d7, bishop b4 is a key defensive move found by Engine Resources, with the idea that bishop takes b4 now, bishop takes d7, but white still might be slightly better here. Knight h6 check, king h8, bishop c3, and again, you know, white sacrificing this rook quite wildly, but it would lead to advantage to white, because here queen takes f6, queen takes g2, knight g5, believe it or not. It's just amazing the amount of variations in this game. Here, if queen d5 check, the incredible thing now is white avoids the perpetual. He doesn't play queen c1, which allows queen h1 and a perpetual. Instead, he can bravely march the king up the board with king e3, with advantage, believe it or not. These checks are harmless. Rook a e8, king f4, and black's running out of checks here. Let's look at this decoy of this bishop. Just king g3 here, according to my analytical assistant, keeps white's advantage. How is black defending this now? It's very, very difficult. In fact, white's got a clear advantage now. Let's have a look at a very tactical variation. And white in this kind of ending will be winning. So anyway, you can see the depth of this game. It's a bit too much to cover with a YouTube video of 10 minutes. So we'll just quickly go over the brilliance of the main line of the game, which just was this one ending where white was going to be the exchange up. If the knight moved here, then bishop b6, by the way, and if bishop takes b6, just knight d4, and white's clearly better, just winning this piece. So here black had had enough after bishop d4. Smyslov resigned. So this game was well and truly justified to get a Brilliancy prize. Even today it's difficult to decipher the variations which are contained in this game.